Hey, Traveling Kimchi here. So I'm super excited. I got my first video request from Linda Bui1, and she was wondering if I could do a video about the interview process for teaching English in Korea. So I'm going to be talking specifically about teaching English in Korea interviews, but I'm sure some of these are universal in any teaching English abroad program. So the first thing I wanted to talk about was Skype or phone. So a lot of the applications say that they're going to have their interview on Skype. This was not my experience. I personally applied to 3 different programs. I applied to ETIS, which was a recruitment program for SMOE. I applied to Talk, and I applied to a recruitment program for Epic. So all of these applications basically told me that they were going to have a Skype interview with me. I did not have a Skype interview with a single one. They were all over the phone. So this is definitely something to check up on when they're scheduling the interview with you. Just go ahead and double check it. Hey, is this Skype or this phone? So if it's on Skype, look good from the waist up. That's my advice for Skype. Basically, the first thing you want to think about before you go into your interview is how well you adjust to another culture. Basically, these programs really want a person that can adjust well to a different culture because they recruit people who go into culture shock mode once they get here, and then the person drops out of the program and goes back home, and this school is left with no English teacher, and so they're scrambling around trying to find a replacement. So you want to look at maybe examples of where you've experienced another culture. Maybe you haven't experienced Korean culture, but at least name any other culture you've experienced, visited. Another thing is maybe tell times you've experienced Korean culture or you visited Korea. And basically you just need to prove you're capable of adapting to another culture and that you won't be dropping out of the program, that you're a reliable teacher. So, because they want to know that you can adjust good and be happy here, because a happy person is a good teacher. So just give proof that you're able to adjust to the different cultures. So another thing I think you should think about before you go into your interview is a clever way to teach a lesson. So basically, if you're not a teaching major, they're going to want proof that you're good at coming up with interesting lesson plans for the students. So I would say think of 2 ways that you might make a boring lesson really interesting. So saying, oh, I think I could change this into a game, or I would incorporate English music or something like this. I'm personally not a teaching major, I'm a film major, and so I said since film was my major, I would incorporate film into my teaching programs, or teaching lessons. Another thing they want to know is how you will keep the students' attention. Like, they want to know you're creative with your lesson plans so you can keep the students' attention. And they're also going to ask you how you would manage a classroom, aka discipline, because they want the lessons to engage the students, but they also want to know that you're okay with controlling them. So, if you have any experience teaching or any experience dealing with children, I would definitely bring these up. Even if you have never dealt with kids, I have never watched kids, I've never babysitted, I don't have siblings, I'm an only child, so I just talked about times when I taught my own peers. So anything you can bring up with kids or teaching or both, it's really good. The next thing I would advise looking at is research Korea and Korean culture. So when you're looking at it, look at the differences between Eastern and Western culture. Basically, once again, going back to the culture shock thing, they want you to be aware that there are differences. I mean, yeah, obviously they're not the same place, but what isn't the same, and like what are you going to have to learn to adjust to? Another thing is looking at the Korean culture. Look at things you like about the Korean culture, like things you appreciate that's different but you like. Another thing is where in Korea you'd like to visit. I know that sounds really strange to be asked, but in my own interview I had them ask, oh, like, where do you want to visit in Korea? And I had mentioned before I visited 2 times and they still wanted to know where else I wanted to go. So definitely look at things that interest you about Korea, the differences, and where in Korea you're really interested in visiting while you're here. Number 4 is look at the program you're applying to. At the end, of course, it's like kind of a mandatory thing. They always ask, oh, do you have any questions? Basically, you want to come up with a list of questions to ask them just to show that you're interested in the program that this is something you're taking seriously and you're researching it, and this is something you're really dedicated to doing. So, I mean, yeah, ask the mandatory questions like, oh, when am I going to hear the results and stuff like this, but also, you know, if you have any questions about the program or teaching in Korea, or maybe like a really clever question about Korean culture and you just mentioned you couldn't find the answer on the internet or something like that, just show that it's something you're really interested in and you're dedicated to doing. Lastly, they'll ask you why you want to teach English in Korea. So basically, just come up with a good answer about, one, why you want to teach English, and two, why in Korea. I personally have family here, so I brought up, you know, I want to experience part of my culture, and I really was interested in teaching as a minor when I was in college, and I want to see if that I made the right choice by not majoring in it, but also it's a way of giving back, and something like this. So just like really think about why it is you are coming to Korea. Don't say money, that's a little bit much. So other than that, I would just say just be outgoing. Shy teachers don't make good teachers. Make sure you're speaking proper English. Don't use slang. You're applying to be an English teacher after all. But other than that, that's the advice I would give to your interview. So definitely do a little bit of research. Maybe make a little list on your notebook. And good luck on your interview. This is the Traveling Kimchi. Bye.